You're listening to the Telltale channel. Don't forget to check me out on all social media: Patreon, Twitter, Teespring, and Etsy. All links can be found in the description or on my website, telltaleatheist.com. Hey, this is Owen. If you're comfortable, leave your first name and state at the sound of the tiny truck backing up.
Hi, my name's AJ. I'm from Michigan. I just got done watching the last video, or I'm not sure when exactly you get this, but it's the video talking about why religion tends to hate gay people, and they kind of gave me an idea on what to call about. It's a thing I've been struggling with for quite a while, and I just never thought to actually talk to anybody. So I guess this is going to be a first. But I'm gay, and I grew up as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, so you can probably imagine how not fun that was. But even to this day, after I've been out of the religion for 3-4 years now, I still struggle with the word homosexual and homosexuality. It's just never it's just never been a word that I've been comfortable applying to myself. Whenever I hear it, I always think about the sermon, I guess, when they're talking, and the brothers will have their talk or whatever. And whenever I hear homosexual and homosexuality, it makes me feel icky, because that's how I felt when I was there. When I was there at the Kingdom Hall, I get all the negative connotations and the presuppositions or whatever, and just everything bad that goes along with those words. And I don't know, it's just something that I've been struggling with, and I know that it's like, it's perfectly okay. I can look at myself in the mirror and say that I'm gay and be perfectly fine, but it's just those words that I'm just not comfortable with.
It actually got cut off there. There was a 2-minute limit, basically, on the voicemail system. It will automatically shut off after 2 minutes, and that was the point at which it got cut off, unfortunately. There was a question behind that, but I didn't really get an opportunity to hear the question, unfortunately. But while we're on this subject, let me just mention, if you want to leave a voicemail, your best bet is to keep it to 30 seconds if possible. It's a pretty much guarantee that I'm going to hear it if it's 30 seconds or less. In this case, I happened to hear it regardless, and I felt like it was an important enough message that I play it and talk about it. I definitely know what you mean about having certain terms programmed into you as bad or evil or icky or whatever. And I would be willing to say that you have religious trauma syndrome. I don't know if you've ever heard the term, but the definition is a function of both the chronic abuses of harmful religion and the impact of severing one's connection with one's faith and faith community. It can be compared to a combination of PTSD and complex PTSD, CPTSD. You should really talk to somebody about it. I have it too. I have religious trauma syndrome too. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that a lot of my listeners probably have religious trauma syndrome, essentially PTSD from it. Actually, let me just tell this little story about my experience with RTS, religious trauma syndrome. About a year ago, I think, maybe 2 years ago, I don't remember when it was now. I think it was 2 years ago. I went to Bethel with Genetically Modified Skeptic, the Jehovah's Witnesses headquarters. And they have like these tours. And I got into the tour with Genetically Modified Skeptic and a camera guy to basically film our experience with it and everything. It was in New York City, of course. That's where they're headquartered. And it was an extremely traumatizing experience. I went after that, like the next day, we went to Central Park and tried to find cart witnessers so that we could talk to them. The plan was to tell them that I'm disfellowshipped and show the world how they react to that. And it was, it just brought up the darkest shit in my life. So dark that I still have nightmares about Jehovah's Witnesses since then. And I've probably had them on and off over the years anyways, but nightmares like that are actually a sign of post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's like recurring dreams where I'm being shunned and hated by friends and family. And they really started kicking in hard after that. Now, don't get me wrong. I am very, very glad that I did that. It was worth it. It was worth the literal trauma that I had to experience to get that footage, because it helped somebody. Even if it was just one person, it was still worth it to me to do it and deal with the trauma. But it haunts me. It wasn't just that either. It wasn't just me going to Bethel or talking to the Jehovah's Witnesses or anything. It was the entire thing, just being a Jehovah's Witness, being raised as one, and losing everything and everybody, all of it. Just brought on the deepest trauma that I have ever experienced in my life, or probably ever will. And I should probably get treatment or something for it, as should most people in my audience. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention that to you. You and I both should probably talk to a therapist, a psychiatrist, about the shit that we have been through in the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses or any other extremist cult like that. If you like what I do and you want to make sure I can continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, you can support me on Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check out my Teespring. I sell all kinds of shirts and stickers and stuff on there. Second, you can support me by checking out my Etsy store. I sell 3D printed stands for every system, from the original Nintendo to the Xbox One. And finally, if you want to support me in other ways, you can check me out on my other channels. I have the podcast channel, which is where I talk about whatever's on my mind. Politics, social issues, whatever. You can also find it everywhere podcasts can be found. Or you can check out the videos on my main channel, where I focus on destructive cults. As it is with most channels these days, I rely on the support of viewers like you to keep my channel alive, so sharing my work is extremely helpful. Anyways, check me out in all those places if you haven't already. Thanks for listening, guys.